Okay, so this should be relatively short as the portfolio classes tend to be. I just really wanted to give a quick overview of what we're doing this month with this latest addition to your portfolio project. So you're probably familiar with this by now. You've been working through the various projects focusing on the subject that you chose back in Portfolio 1. So that's going to continue this month. But you're actually going to have two projects this time around. One is the major project, which is the digital video asset, and the secondary project is your brand logo. So the brand logo is a continuation of your style guide from Portfolio Project 2. So hopefully you still have that document saved somewhere because I would not be able to retrieve that if you don't have it. So hopefully that's still around. Okay, so tons of copies. Yeah, that's good. Always hang on to your work, especially for these portfolio courses, because this is an ongoing effort. So you'll actually now fill in that that logo section that we left blank back in Portfolio Project 2. And then you'll get to create a digital video asset that's related to your subject in some way. So you have a lot of creative freedom in this case because all I need to see is a digital video asset that's well constructed and has some competent editing and transitions. The content of that video is up to you. So make it something that's relevant to your subject, that serves a logical purpose, and make it a piece of your best work. Since you have the entire month to focus on that one project, the idea is that you can get it to a pretty good level of quality. Another thing I'm going to point out is that we have finally established what Portfolio Project 4 is, and that's going to be an open-ended project. You actually decide what project you want to do based on your own interests as far as media formats go, and also the needs of your portfolio subject. So way back in Portfolio Project 1, you did some brainstorming about the media needs of your subject, and so now you can address those specific needs down here at Portfolio 4. So that should be interesting. Give you some room to explore some alternative media formats that you may not have really spent time with yet. So the class, as far as the class breakdown for the month, actually this is not accurate because what I found is that I really don't have much to talk about in Go-To sessions this month because you're working on a single project. So there isn't new information for me to give every month or each week. But I want to make sure that I'm available to answer any questions. And so that's what we'll be doing for now. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me during the week and we can arrange one-on-one meetings. For campus students, I'm available during the Friday Blends as well. If you want to grab me during the break and ask some questions there. But otherwise, there really wasn't a need for weekly Go-To sessions. So I just did away with that this time around, aside from this initial kickoff. The project itself is going to go in a similar way to what we did in the previous portfolio projects, and that is it's going to be built in stages. So the first step is to come up with an idea. Just to let me know what your video is going to be about so I can make sure that you have an idea that is valid and effective for the needs of your portfolio subject and also something that's doable within the time constraints. And it gives you a creative direction before you start shooting any video footage or collecting assets as well. The first deliverable of the video is the assembly cut, and this is the rough draft basically. And I'm following the same format as your digital video course, more or less. So that should be in pretty rough shape. You can start to see the beginnings of the project and the overall composition, but there's still going to be some rough footage and maybe some extra pieces that will eventually be cut. By the end of week 3, though, you should be down to pretty much close to your final version, with just maybe some small refinements to be made. And that each one of those installments, I'll give my feedback. Sometimes I try to get input from Rene Otero as well, since this is his subject of expertise. And so you can consistently be making improvements to your project. And so at the end of week 4, you turn in your final version, and that should incorporate all of the input that you've gotten up to that point, and give me a chance to give you suggestions for any final refinements that you can make moving forward. Does that all make sense? And did you have any ideas for the video that you're going to do? Okay. Okay, so you're still thinking about it? Okay, and what was your subject, just to remind me? Okay, a sushi restaurant. Yeah, so it could be, it could be any number of things, like the Chipotle sushi. Okay, yeah, so you could do a promotional piece, like a fun commercial, or like a mini documentary, some kind of content marketing piece with some, some human interest stories or something along those lines. Even well, I've seen some how-to recipe videos as well, but I don't know if that would be the best approach for sushi. Oh, yeah, there you go. So with the ninja theme, there's a lot of room for fun. And absolutely have fun with this. I mean, take it serious in the sense that you want to make a good quality end product, but you can make your videos fun as long as you take the heart of the project seriously. Trying to think if there's anything else. You don't have to appear in your video, just to be clear about that. You can recruit friends and classmates or family members to star in your video if you wish, to be your talent. Make use of original footage. Be mindful of copyright, of course. No copyrighted music, no copyrighted video footage, so don't go grabbing anything from YouTube. I think this is probably goes without saying, but just to check that off of my list. And I will be looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. These projects, I've been running this class for maybe 4 or 5 months now, and I'm always pretty impressed with what everyone comes up with and the quality of the work that turns out. And what's really interesting is seeing how it goes from the rough draft to the finished version, because there's so much development and so much growth. So it's exciting to see. Yeah, and the library's resources have some great resources as far as media that you are allowed to use, stock video and music. So definitely make use of that. And also any kind of images, things like the Morguefile website that we use for aesthetics, and some others that are royalty-free and copyright-free still images. Okay, so just for those listening to the archive, you were saying you want to try your director and producer skills for the video since you're always in front of the camera. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, getting to call the shots behind the scenes. So the other component, in addition to the video is going to be the real focus, but we also have this logo design, and that's going to be happening sort of behind the scenes as well. As we are going through the video, this is something that you'll need to dedicate some time to as well. I have a kickoff assignment in week 1 that just kind of tells you to start working on this, but it's not really due until later in the class, down at the end of week 3. But don't forget about this component as well. This leverages your graphic design skills from who's teaching that class right now? Jacob, I believe Kaplan is in charge of that one. To put together a new logo for your subject, and you commented on this earlier about how your subject already has a pretty cool logo. Odds are, if you're using a subject that is a real world business, they probably already have a logo, and that's okay. This is strictly an academic exercise for you to get some graphic design practice. Not expecting anyone in this program to be graphic artists. I know a few of our students actually are graphic artists, but you're not in competition with the professional graphic artists that might have created their existing logos. This is simply a way for you to apply your creativity and also practice applying the branding criteria that you've already established through your style guide in a visual medium format. And you can use this logo in your video project as well if you choose to. And this follows the same requirements that generally apply to any of your design projects. It has to be your own original work and no copyrighted materials. But you can use existing graphics or photos and typefaces to incorporate into your design. This shouldn't be the majority of your design, but you can make use of little icons or little clip art figures if you need to. I've seen pieces incorporated from other logo designs that are related to the subject, but unfortunately that's a copyrighted piece of material, of course, so you don't want to do that. You can borrow themes and ideas from the existing branding if you need to. So like the ninja idea, you can make use of that as well. And try to incorporate your brand colors, the ones that you define in your style guide, and capture the themes and personality of your subject. So you had said that they have a pretty fun brand personality, so that's something you would want to capture as well. And these are a couple of examples that I've been using, because what you'll do in addition to designing the logo is you'll add it into your style guide and add some documentation. And this will be up to you to come up with. If there's variations of that logo design, you'll include those. So say if you have an alternate design that's to be used on a dark background as opposed to a light background, you'll put that in there, and then give some criteria and restrictions for the logo usage. A lot of times this will be guidelines on how it can be altered and how it cannot be altered. For example, in the Full Sail Style Guide, they have rules on how the elements can be arranged. So the airplane logo always has to be at the top with the Full Sail title below, and you can't reshuffle those. Our marketing department isn't allowed to mess with that. and you can't change the colors and so forth. So these would be criteria that you would indicate in the logo usage. Also resizing, or even when and where it can be used. I actually had some personal experience when I worked for Lockheed Martin. I was part of a team that ran a corporate training portal online, and I designed this little alternate logo that had the Lockheed Martin star zooming around the Earth like a satellite, and I kind of got in trouble for that because that violated their style guide restrictions, that we cannot mess with the logo. So that's the kind of thing that this is establishing. And we already kind of touched on this, and you said you were still kind of thinking it over. But yeah, if you have any ideas or anything you wanted to run by me, you can. But otherwise, it's really wide open. The length of your video isn't set in stone either. If you think about a commercial, they're usually, 15 or 30 seconds long. But if you're doing some other format, you can go up to, say, 5 minutes wouldn't be out of the question. I wouldn't go much longer than that, just given time constraints that we're working with and the amount of time it takes to edit. And I have pretty much seen all of these different formats in the last few months. I've definitely seen majority of them are commercials, but I have seen short documentaries done. I've seen a music video, and that included a dancer. That was really an interesting project to see come together. But it's, for the most part, just open for you to explore your interests and find creative ways to apply this to your subject. And for the first assignment, these are the points that I'm looking for you to include. The nature of the video, so basically what kind of format is it going to be? How long do you see it running? So you might not know exactly, but if it's going to be under a minute, around a minute, 5 minutes or so, you can guess. The content of the video, this is your creative vision for the video, just what do you see it including? And that's going to shape up as you work, and probably can change direction, but just give an idea of where you see it going and what you need in order to make that happen. So do you need to go out and shoot video? Are you collecting images? What kind of background music will you need, if you need it at all, and so forth. And even sets, if you're going to get really intricate with it. Did you have any questions or anything that you wanted to comment on at this point? I don't require a script necessarily. That you don't have to turn in a script to me. I certainly recommend that you work with a script if there's going to be dialogue or voiceover. So just for your own use, then certainly would recommend writing it out and preparing. Not everybody has the talent for improving. Yeah, just a general description of the content of the video. So, is it going to have footage of customers, a customer experience in the restaurant itself. It's gonna, have a ninja that pops up around the restaurant or what have you. And a good excuse for you and your talent to dress up as ninjas, I suppose. Although be careful with that. You don't want to get law enforcement involved. So did you have any questions about the nature of the video or the content or what I'll be looking for? Okay, yeah, so do some brainstorming on that. You have until, I guess, Sunday night to come up with an idea that you can summarize. And while I don't recommend changing direction in the middle of the month, you can if you find that things aren't quite going the way you had envisioned. But so that was an overview of what we're doing this month. Sorry you had missed a good bit of it, Sonia, but I'll post the archive as soon as we close out. I just had been giving an overview of the projects for the month.